Hello, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, welcome back to Cornwall, welcome back to summer. It is silly season. Everyone is on the roads because the schools are out for summer. I'm having to drive extra specially carefully because people just don't know how to drive. They go on holiday and then their brains fall out of their buttholes, and we are just having to keep our heads on a swivel because the tourists are in the wire and they are here and they don't know why they're here. And they're too hot and irritable to be anywhere else. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was the social media on the channel, because I have gone and got a Mastodon account. And you might say, Mastodon? I barely know her. I don't even know her. Wait, that doesn't even work. What was that again? Mastodon is a woolly elephant. It's a woolly mammoth. Oh. And I've done this vlog before, and I spent the entire vlog calling it Megalodon, like the big shark that will bite you in half because it doesn't know any better. No, it's not a Megalodon, it's a Mastodon. Mastodon is very much like Twitter used to be, but it is open source and it is distributed, so it's decentralized. What does that mean? Well, it probably means that a billionaire is not going to come along at some point and just buy the whole platform as their personal executive toy and start messing around with it. So, Twitter. At the beginning of the week, they changed Twitter to X. In the middle of the week, the owner said, ooh, we're just going to have dark mode, nothing but dark mode. Oh, okay. So Twitter has become X and it'll only have dark mode. They've also kicked off a few accounts, or renamed a few accounts, or suspended a few accounts. The first was the guy that held the X account on Twitter, a photographer. That, I think the account was like 11 years old, and they've just got rid of it. They said, sorry, we need that. So they took that away from him. X videos. So X videos has been, their account has been suspended on Twitter because Twitter now, or X now, wants the X videos because they're going to be turning it into an everything app, which means you will do tweets, no longer tweets. I don't even know what the heck they're calling them these days. Whatever posts. We'll just call them posts. So they're going to do posts, which will be X something or other, and videos and finance and meetings, I guess. They're going to turn it into WeChat, China's WeChat, which is an application that if you're not on it, you will have a problem in your life, because everything is done through China's WeChat, and you can be kicked off of China's WeChat by saying naughty things about the government. So you probably don't want to if you absolutely rely on that bit of software. However, heads on a swivel, lads. However, that's not what Twitter, the social media formerly known as Twitter, is doing right now. What they're doing right now is with X videos, which is going to be whatever their video system is going to be, which is already owned by the X videos company, and their dark mode, and just naming it X, which is not trademarkable, by the way. You can't just trademark a letter of the alphabet, so I don't know how they're going to deal with it. And by the way, there's Xbox, X videos, there's another X. Oh, Meta has trademarks on the letter X for social media stuff. There's a lot of people who are just going to be like, yeah, you're infringing my trademark, old chum. So there's a lot of things there. Basically, they're turning Twitter into an adult entertainment site without the adult material. So basically what Tumblr became once they removed all the adult material, or what OnlyFans was trying to do before everyone rebelled, and said, look, we're not going to use OnlyFans. I don't know what this guy's doing. Oh, we're all slowing down to 50 because of the roadworks. The car will tell us as soon as we go through. So we'll just set the speed, and there we go, to 50. You do not want to be going through British roadworks too fast. There are cameras pretty much everywhere, whether you can see them or not. So yeah, excellent. Now, well, we knew this was going to be a problem. All right, well, this is summer. This is summer in Cornwall, roadworks or otherwise. This is definitely summer in Cornwall. So I'm not entirely sure what to do here, so we'll just follow this line of, because we need to be on this side of the road when we eventually peace out, and the people on the right hand side are slowing down anyway. Good, excellent. This is why I don't tend to go on the main roads during summer. That's why we always scoot around the back roads. But I need to go visit my sister today. So yeah, Twitter has become X. They've gone dark mode. They're becoming an adult site without the adult material. It's a bit of a weird thing, and it feels very much like the owner has bought Twitter and is just using it as an executive toy. And they own SpaceX. SpaceX is doing some interesting things. They're trying to put 10,000 people in a colony on Mars, which is, well, it should be impossible. But there are some very clever people working there, and that is an interesting prospect, which I think they can probably do. They need to deal with things like basically no atmosphere, regolith that will just shred everything. That's the sand, because it's not been eroded by rain and wind. It is very sharp, and it will cut through things like spacesuits and any buildings you put up on Mars. The freezing temperatures and the radiation. You don't have much of an atmosphere, you're going to have a lot of radiation. So that's going to be a bit of a problem for you. Anyway, they also have the boring company, which is drilling holes underground in order for people's Teslas to drive down there. Because they say, well, the Tesla can self-drive. We'll drill a hole in the ground and you can just drive, and there won't be any traffic because they all drive at the same speed. But an electric car in a tube has a problem, because an electric car in a tube, the battery can set fire. The battery can ignite, and with a lithium-ion battery, it will burn a fire that cannot be put out. So yeah, you might have some problems there, old chum. What else does the guy have? He has Hyperloop, which is basically a railway in a tube where you suck all the air out and then shoot carriages down a vacuum-filled tube. But the physics involved says that you can never really pump air out of a tube that spans between cities. So the guy that owns Twitter has a bunch of other companies, and one of them is very good. One of them is questionable, Tesla. I'm not entirely sure about Tesla. They just released their truck and it looks like ass. And the Teslas that they have released have some problems. They're pretty vehicles, but over-designed, too many gadgets and bits and pieces on them that is just completely unnecessary. And the number of Teslas that have just driven into woodland and immolated because the owners have turned on autopilot and then just destroyed themselves is quite frightening. So yeah, I wouldn't get a Tesla. I'd get a hydrogen-powered car when they come online, and that makes sense, but that would probably be a Toyota or a Hyundai, but definitely not a Tesla. So yeah, I'm not gonna not post on the social media formerly known as Twitter. I will continue posting there until the account is either suspended or the site just destroys itself utterly. But I think Megalodon, yes, no, Mastodon. I did it again. Mastodon is going to be now what Twitter used to be. And if you haven't been there, if you haven't visited Mastodon, and you say, I don't know, it sounds weird, a distributed social media, how does that work? It works quite well. Like for you, it's transparent. You go there, you sign up, and it's like signing up to any other social media site. And then you got your little box on the left-hand side, which you can put your text in. You've got little fields which you can add your website and various things into. And basically, it functions very much like Twitter, but in some respects, it's even easier than Twitter. It's like they've said, oh, this is what Twitter was, but we can make it better and faster and simpler. So yeah, and the reason I actually went over to Mastodon was because of Loading Ready Run, the Canadian comedy troupe based in Victoria, in Canada. So what they normally do is they post on Twitter when they're going live and when they're doing a live stream. And the mantra has been for many years, you're live, did you post on Twitter? And everyone's like, oh no, we didn't post on Twitter. The other week, I think, it was Graham Stark, who's one of the co-founders of Loading Ready Run. He said he was doing, I think it was like a wrestling live stream. They had a wrestling game, and they made little avatars of all the comedy characters that they've had over the years, and they have like a wrestle off. So the game kind of auto plays itself, and then they get one winner from that, which is kind of cool. But one of the other guys, I think it was Adam, was like, oh, have you posted on Twitter? And Graham was like, no, I haven't. I posted on Mastodon. Yeah, that's the right one. So he's like, I posted on Mastodon. Oh. And I'm thinking, maybe it's time to investigate. So I investigated, and I was like, yeah, no, that looks good. That's fine. It's simple. I like simple, especially with new things. So simple works. Simple is fine. And then I mentioned it at work. And Sophie, who has Our Cornish Farm, the Our Cornish Farm YouTube channel, she's just launched herself a website, which she's very happy about. She went on Mastodon as well, and she's, in her own words, obsessed with it. And I'm like, how can you be obsessed? Well, apparently she went and got herself a Threads account, which Threads is Facebook's new social media. And the Threads, she said, it was disappointing. She wasn't getting much interaction on it. But with Mastodon, she had much more engagement, like basically immediately. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's cool. That is exactly what you want. So, yeah. I did tell my sister, I said, I'm going to leave. It's probably going to take an hour to get there. Normally it takes about half an hour. Bit, 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 bit. That's the parking sensors when a fly flies in front of it. It's a feature, not a bug. Well, in this instance, it is actually a bug. But given that we are a half mile from what used to be the Chiverton Cross Junction, which doesn't exist anymore, they're dualing the dual carriageway. It means that all of this, we've got a zipper junction here, which is why all of these cars that have been going down the outside are now trying to merge, which is slowing everything up. We've got extra traffic, and I don't actually know what the junction ahead looks like because I haven't been up here since... Ooh, I don't actually know how long it's been. I genuinely don't know how long it's been. Weird, huh? Good. Well, there's not too much else to report, I guess, if we're sort of stuck in traffic with the cameras running. The actual channel itself is fine. You didn't get a video yesterday because I needed to be out today doing stuff. So I recorded today's video yesterday. So today's video will be Stranded Deep. I recorded that yesterday. We're building an island in Stranded Deep in the map editor. So we'll pop that in game at some point, and that'll be our new home island. And it started off okay, and then it gets a little bit quiet because we've got to do a lot of work on a lot of minutiae, a lot of little vignettes, and there's a lot of placing of trees and rocks and things. And then we get partway through, and it's sort of, you have to go big or go home, because at that point you have the rough outline of the island, but it's just like, yes, and now I need to make sure everything's interesting. So you're adding points of interest, like huge points of interest. So today's video that was recorded yesterday, that will be out. Wait, for you it'll be yesterday because you're future people, and you'll be watching this tomorrow. Oh my god, I might actually be dizzy. So yes, the Stranded Deep video that goes out today, but for you is tomorrow, but for me was the future. Yeah, just building a stone circle, because we've done that before, and it was quite small, and this time we know to make it bigger. Go big or go home. So there's a few interesting features there. Disco Elysium. I gotta say, Disco Elysium has to be my game of the year, probably every year. I'm struggling to find another game like Disco Elysium that is so not only detailed and interesting, but also that we can play with like a super deep story. Like, the nice thing about Disco Elysium as a game is that it doesn't force you to do exploration as part of the main. This guy's going to force his way in. Yeah. Normally it's a BMW or an Audi, but I figured the BMW owners are making up for a tiny penis, because all BMW drivers drive like an arsehole. I'm not going to beep any of that. You deal with it. Yeah, BMWs, universally buttholes, every single one of them. Fight me. You can't. So yeah, Disco Elysium. I love it. I absolutely love it. So it is brilliant, and I love the mechanic where time doesn't pass when you're walking around the world. It only passes when you're in conversation. So Disco Elysium has to be like my game of games. It is so good, and I can see myself, when we're not recording, just playing through again and just seeing if I can get another different results. So that'll be fun. When it comes to God of War's been an interesting one. So God of War, I started doing the videos and I didn't get much of a response. Like, there was not much in the way of a response on God of War. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I just got a bit irreverent with it. Within the first few seconds, we introduced, because it was initially I was introducing it as Dad and Boy, and it was an adventure between Dad, Kratos, and Boy, Atreyu, who's really sad because his horse just drowned. So they bury their mum, and then they go on a journey together. That's God of War, and it's actually a really fun game. I don't normally play fighting games or hacky slashy games, but this one's been quite interesting. But because you have an axe, which you upgrade, and because you have your fists, which you get to punch people with, yeah, we just we're the fisty boy. We go around fisting people. We fist people until they burst, and it's just like, you can't say that. You can't say that within the first minute. Well, old chum, that's what it means by getting irreverent. We can. I need to be on that road over there. I realise now that I have no idea where I know where I am physically, like geographically, but I have no idea how to get on that road over there, which is where I need to be. We're manually driving at this point. I'm going to guess there's a new interchange, so that'll be an interesting one. Good. So yeah, we did fist a witch till she burst, but she was like a revenant, so wasn't really a witch, more of just a corruption of evil. Which was really interesting because that was gold greed. Yeah, that was a character, because your wife dies at the beginning, or is dead at the beginning, when you don't know who she is. And I'm like, well, it could be Freya, it could be Frigg, it could be gold greed, and I think or Laufey. And I was just like, probably not Frigg, because that's Odin's wife. Maybe Freya, maybe Laufey, maybe Goldgreed, the witch. But Goldgreed turned out to be a side quest, and I was like, oh. And we ended up just fisting her till like she burst. I mean, technically correct. I'm going to go left, and I'm going to have to Zen navigate, because I don't want to be on the A30. Ooh, okay. And I think what I need to do is go left here. Yes, Perranporth Newquay. Right, good, excellent. We are back on the road that we need to be on. Summer traffic, I mean, all of this doesn't help, but yeah, summer traffic is appalling. It is the reason why you don't go anywhere. I do live near the beach, and during the summer, we actually need to set a speed limit for ourselves. It's 40, but these guys are going too fast. and that pole back there is an average speed check camera. So we will just set ourselves to 40 and let the car do the work. So the radar is on, and if anyone steps out in front of us, we'll slow down. So that's good. Yeah, excellent. So the games are good. The channel's got a new social media. The people who run the old social media are basically creating an adult site but don't realize they're creating an adult site and can't copyright any of it or trademark it. Fine. Did that end? Yes, it did. Okay, cool. So we can now speed back up to the national average, which is 60 mile an hour on a road like this, which is fine. And all the silver in front of us is solar panels, which is kind of neat. So yeah, Cornwall. Cornwall is an interesting place to live. During the winter, it is largely abandoned. During the summer, it is ramo blamo. There's like 76 million people in the United Kingdom. 6 million people live in the Greater London area, and 4 million people will try and squeeze their way into Cornwall in the next few weeks. 4 million people, a not insignificant part of the population. In fact, the entire population of Sweden, I think, will try and be in Cornwall. And that is a bit of a problem. Things in the supermarkets tend to disappear. Bread will disappear very quickly. Chips, because there's a lot of self-catering around here. Bags of, I guess, fries if you're American, that all goes very quickly. Milk goes very quickly. Bread will just vanish, and meats, anything that can go on a barbecue will also vanish. Salad stuffs, so your tomatoes and your lettuce will also be gone by the time you get out of work. So if you have the unfortunate predicament of having to go to work, if you go to the supermarket after work, it'll be ramo and there'll be nothing in it. The countryside's nice, but there's a lot of people all over it. And a lot of the houses, we have a huge housing problem down here. I've mentioned it before, but it's actually got worse. And that is so many places now Airbnb that there's nowhere to buy, because the average house prices are £500,000 for what used to be an £80,000 house. No difference. The house originally was just like a tiny little 2 up, 2 down. Yeah, you're spending between £500,000 and £650,000 for that, and a 3-bedroom house starts at about £750,000. Affordable housing starts around, I would say, probably around 200,000. Yeah, the prices in Cornwall are insanity for housing. And groceries. I used to live in St Ives. The Tesco Supermarché just up the hill is the most expensive Tesco in the whole kingdom, because any businesses that buy a franchise in St Ives expect it to make the same money as a high street store in London. Not even joking. I've known people who have worked for franchises on the St Ives High Street, 4th Street as it's called. And yeah, so it's a beautiful place to visit. It will be wet if you do visit, bring a coat. But unfortunately, it is ramo most of the year. So you get a bit in October and you get a bit in winter when it's kind of empty and deserted. And then spring's kind of okay. But people start coming down in spring, and people will be back over Christmas as well. Not nearly as bad over Christmas, but the Christmas week is where this car got a lot of little tiny dents, because the car parks get full and people get upset, hot and angry, and they just slam open their doors in the car parks. People are monsters. Oh, and the beaches are covered in trash. That was the other thing. People come down, have a barbecue on the beach, bag all their rubbish up, and they just leave it on the beach. I've never understood why, but you can walk down the beach where I am. You can walk down there of an evening and walk amongst the sand dunes. You can see on the top of each sand dune is a column of smoke where someone's having a disposable barbecue, which I thought they banned because they're a fire hazard. They keep burning down the countryside, but people will just bag it all up. So disposable barbecues, trash, diapers, the whole works, and then abandon it on the beach, because the British populace as a whole believes that there will always be someone to clean up after them. British people are monsters. I've come to the conclusion. And anytime you see McDonald's wrappers in the hedgerows because someone tossed it out of their car, probably a BMW, 100% a BMW. But yeah, when it comes to tidiness and the British populace, we are monsters. I will always take my trash home with me. I will always put it in a little bag and just pop it in the back of the car and then take it home and dispose of it properly. Because if you live with monsters, well, at least one of you has got to be okay, right? Anyway, oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about, now that I've just pooped on all of my fellow country people. Coffee. Is everything still recording? I think it is. I don't know how the battery's going to hold out because we just got stuck in traffic forever. There's a little mailbox there. I think that's a private one for the house. Yeah, coffee. So coffee is the donation page that the channel has, and I was in two minds about doing it. That is a new house. It's a nice one, actually. I want a house. I want a house. If you got a job that requires this, and you're willing to pay enough money to get that house, call me. But yeah, coffee. Coffee is at the, there's a little link, and it's a donation thing. And basically, if you want to donate to the channel to pay for some of the electricity, because the electricity is bloody expensive in Europe at the moment. It's so expensive that one of the railway lines, has actually parked their electric vehicles, electric trains, because it's too expensive to run electric trains in the UK. It's a freight line, and they're just like, yeah, we can't afford to run our electric trains. So that's a thing that's going on at the moment. But yeah, so there's a donation thing. If you want to donate, you can. It's just like coffee. It's like buy me a coffee, and it's like $3, and you can do a recurring one, or you can just do one off. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. A lot of people either can't or won't, and that's fine. Like, views are what really runs the channel, and views is what keeps me coming back and doing all of this. If the videos didn't get any views, then, you know, I probably would stop doing this. And likes really help the videos. But yeah, coffee. I realized that I can put the link on the outro screen of the videos. And it's very interesting because I don't know how many other channels have outro screens anymore. It used to be a big thing with YouTube videos. You put an outro screen, and then you put a next and a previous, and then you could put a little like field over the top so you could click next and previous. They don't do that anymore because it didn't work on mobile. And then people just stopped doing outro screens, which was a weird thing. But because they stopped doing outro screens, you now get like the next video and the subscribe button and everything just appear over the end of people's videos, like the last 20 seconds. I still do a 20-second outro with a little screen, little window that shows you a little snippet from the video you've just watched, and then like a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, and then like a subscribe button, and then there's a link to a recommended video, and it's best for viewer. So whatever you've been watching, it'll recommend basically a video that's best for you. That's how that works. But I realized there's some extra space there. I might be able to move some stuff around. There's some extra space, and I'm like, I could put the coffee link at the end of the video. So I might do that. I don't know what it's going to look like. I tried it with yesterday's video, that is today's video that I recorded yesterday for me, 2 days ago for you. Oh my God, don't even try and do wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff. It will melt your mind. And I realized that it's a little bit more complicated than I thought. It's not complicated, but you put the coffee link in, and then you've got to choose an image, and I've never had to do that before. And I'm like, oh, and the default coffee one is like, oh, support Silver 51. And I'm like, I wonder if anyone knows that my gaming tag is Silver 51. It has always been. And the 51 does come from Area 51. Because Silver was taken years ago with whatever game that I happened to be playing. And I'm like, oh no, this game that I'm playing, I can't have that. So I just added 51 from Area 51 to the end of it. Good. we're about 3 miles from our destination, and I reckon we're not going to get there for at least an hour. This is why I don't go anywhere. This is why when my sister was like, hey, why don't you come over and see your nephew? I love my nephew. My nephew's great. You do the Lion King, where you pick him up and just like hold him above your head, and he loves that. I think he's going to be into extreme sports when he's older. He's going to definitely want a motorbike. That boy is you know, or paragliding or climbing or something. He's 1.5 now, but you know, if you have kids, don't make them afraid of heights. Hold them up, just see how they react. And if you see a spider, don't react. You don't want to teach your kids to be afraid of things. But yeah, he's genuinely good. He's great, but geez, getting there, it's normally about a half-hour journey, 25 minutes maybe. I'm going to leave it there because you don't need to see any more of this, and I've run out of things to talk about. So, if you like these videos, definitely leave a like, leave a subscribe. Likes help everything. Subscriptions help everything. You help everything. You are great. I love you guys, genuinely. And yeah, tell me how your life has been, because it's got to be more interesting than this. But I tell you what, I'll catch you next time.